The newly inaugurated Komenda Sugar Factory has begun operating, producing its first 100 bags of sugar. It marks the first time in almost 2 decades that sugar has been produced in the country following the collapse of the sugar factories at Isuchari and Komenda in the 70s. Management of the factory tells GBC 24 that the sugar produced on Monday forms part of the mandatory test run required by the contractors who installed the equipment at the factory.
The inauguration of the Komenda Sugar Factory by President Mahama was done last month. Since then, it has generated a lot of controversies, with some arguing that there is not enough raw materials to feed the factory. Others were of the view that all is set for Ghana to take her place among sugar-producing countries. Then came Monday, June 20, when the first test run was done, which led to the production of the first 100 bags of white sugar. The management of the factory described the production of sugar at Komenda as historic because it is the first time in 35 years that Ghana has produced the commodity locally. The Komenda Sugar Factory was initially set up by Dr. Kwabena, but his overthrow in 1966 affected the viability of the company. But things finally came to a head in 1978 due to technical and administrative challenges. The revamping of the Komenda Sugar Factory by President John Mahama's administration is not only going to help create jobs for hundreds of Ghanaians, but also help in reducing Ghana's import bill on sugar, which runs into millions of dollars.
There sits the Komenda Sugar Factory. It was revamped in 2016, but for now, I would not call it a sugar factory. It is a huge monument showing the nation what failure to plan looks like.
Beyond the issue of bad planning and neglect, the $35 million facility is gradually rusting away after 2 years of inactivity and lack of maintenance. This is how the factory looked like 2 years ago. Now, this is the current state. The well-coated and painted metal plates now look brownish, corroding as the day goes by. Kweku Isaac Inketia, a resident, says he regularly drives by the factory and gets upset to always find it idle.
In fact, Uncle, oya tete oya yaw. Me again nipa, samu twon mu na factory sie jana. Meja me yedwumo. Me yedwume bia. Be hye nwon polo jam. We jam mpa wie. Enti mu na factory sia na adoli jam no in fact. E bia sa ade ye adwuma, anka mutumi ya kwanja sam mapa pra hwe ni mpa na de modo do mpa. Anka obobom amna me family. But me na ma di sie jana mfaso bia de la be ka de no ye. One face kan waje ye. Ade so sie no sika papa no ye waje ye. E mutumi da ade sie jana bibia nkodo a oye me yo 2 years ni o tem bia investment da ma anka oye me yo me the whole k another Ghana me nala.
For now, sugarcane cultivated to feed the factory are channeled to Akpatashi distillers.
Boys and girls you say life. And so I'm mentase. Oh, your pa. And the best laban. I do so in Skakaba. Oh, Skakaba crady. It's best than pa. On fun winter.
When the previous government decided to resurrect the operations of this factory, there were certain fundamental things that needed to be put in place. You can't have a factory that does not have a guaranteed raw material supply. And that, right from the beginning, ab initio, was going to affect the viability of the project. Now, this is a fully integrated plant from crushing to milling and then to the refinery. So under normal circumstances, if the technical considerations had been properly taken care of, this would have been fantastic. Now, as we speak now, the land that is available for cultivation is less than 1,500 acres. And we need a minimum of 6,000 acres to be able to provide the minimum quantity that can make this project viable in terms of full operational capacity.
Ghana's dream to produce sugar locally has set a snag because the Komenda Sugar Factory has been idle for 5 years. The unpleasant news is that the $36.5 million facility is rusting away. Machines have badly corroded and the roofs are badly torn. Jojo Kwabena just returned from Komenda and reports that even though the factory is just 5 years old, it looks almost 20 years old.
This is the factory that is supposed to be producing sugar for the country, but it has been idle for 5 years. The roof is rusty and worn out. Before we get into the details of the current state of the factory, let's trace how Ghana found itself in this situation. It may sound basic, but Ghana had a dream to start producing sugar locally. Hence the rebirth of the Komenda Sugar Factory. The old factory, built in 1964, became defunct about 30 years ago. A loan of $36.5 million was invested into the factory. Resuming operations at the factory was a perfect opportunity to do things right this time around and cut down on Ghana's importation of sugar.
So as I speak, every single cube of sugar, every single grain of sugar that we eat here in Ghana is imported from outside. Komenda is going to change that. It is my honor and my pleasure to declare the Komenda Sugar Factory duly inaugurated.
Excitement created the commissioning of the sugar factory in 2016.
The inauguration of the Komenda Sugar Factory will provide jobs. It is estimated that in full production, this project will provide direct and indirect jobs to an estimated 7,300 people.
Unfortunately, the facility shut down in July 2016 because of inadequate sugarcane. It was due to reopen in October 2016, but never did.